Kethara felt her gas bladders contract involuntarily, a Zephyrian stress response. Dr. Martinez, on my homeworld, we consider a substance dangerous if it can harm an individual in quantities larger than a kilogram. You're describing materials that can cause mass casualties in microscopic amounts. And you just work with them regularly? Vexim added, his crystalline matrix now pulsing with agitation. Martinez shrugged. Someone has to. How else would we develop treatments? Besides, our safety protocols are quite robust. We've only had 3 major incidents this year. 3 major incidents. Kethara's voice rose to frequencies that made Martinez wince. Nothing that breached the outer containment, Martinez assured them. The Geneva protocols require us to report any potential exposure, no matter how minor. As they spoke, a human in a full environmental suit emerged from the building, carrying a sealed container marked with warning symbols that seemed to multiply the longer Kethara looked at them. The figure gave them a casual wave before disappearing into another facility. Dr. Martinez, Vexim said slowly, what exactly is your species' definition of extremely dangerous? Martinez considered this. I suppose it would be anything that could cause significant harm to humans in normal operational quantities. Things like concentrated acids, radioactive materials, explosive compounds, biological weapons, mutagenic chemicals, nanoscale toxins. He paused. Why do you ask? Kethara and Vexim stood in stunned silence, finally understanding why humans marked seemingly innocuous facilities with warnings that would make a galactic marine think twice. These weren't the overcautious protocols of a primitive species. They were the desperately necessary safeguards of a civilization that routinely handled substances capable of ending worlds. Dr. Martinez, Kethara said carefully, I believe we need to revise our assessment of human safety protocols. And perhaps request a transfer to a less challenging assignment. Martinez smiled again, that same reassuring expression that now filled them with existential dread. Nonsense. Wait until you see what we're working on in the Advanced Weapons Research Division. They're always looking for outside perspectives on their latest projects. As they walked away from the standard research laboratory, both alien scientists made a mental note to recommend that the Galactic Council immediately upgrade humanity's threat classification. Any species that marked world-ending substances as routine laboratory materials was clearly far more dangerous than anyone had imagined. Behind them, Dr. Martinez checked his watch and hurried toward Building CA, where the antimatter research team was waiting for his safety inspection. He whistled cheerfully, completely unaware that he had just caused an interstellar diplomatic incident. The Nexus Citadel stood as the crowning achievement of galactic engineering, a testament to the combined intellect of 12 different species working in perfect harmony. For 3 standard years, the greatest minds in the galaxy had labored to create the ultimate fortress, a structure so impregnable that it could withstand the collapse of stars and the fury of black holes. High Architect, zealot of the crystalline hegemony, surveyed his masterpiece from the observation deck of the construction vessel. The fortress hung in space, like a geometric nightmare, its surfaces shifting between dimensions, its very existence protected by layers of reality, bending technology that made conventional physics weep in confusion. Status report, Zeloth commanded, his crystalline voice resonating through the bridge. Chief Engineer Vorthak, a 6-armed insectoid from the Hive Consortium, chittered his response. All defensive systems operational, High Architect. The temporal displacement fields are active, the quantum encryption locks are engaged, and the probability shields are running at maximum efficiency. Elaborate on the security measures, requested Dr. Thisara, the project's chief theorist, a floating jellyfish-like creature whose species had perfected mathematics before most worlds had evolved multicellular life. Vorthak's mandibles clicked with pride. The fortress exists in 17 dimensions simultaneously. Any unauthorized approach triggers temporal loops that trap intruders in recursive time streams. The walls are constructed from compressed dark matter, reinforced with quantum entanglement chains that redistribute any applied force across parallel universes. And the entry system? Zeloth inquired. Pure genius, Dr. Thissera pulsed, her bioluminescent patterns brightening. Access requires solving a mathematical proof that incorporates the unified field equations, quantum consciousness theory, and hypercomplex number systems. The computational requirements exceed the processing power of most planetary computer networks. Zeloth nodded approvingly. And the physical security? The entrance portal requires biometric data from all 12 member species simultaneously. Vorthak continued. Even if someone possessed samples from every species, they would need to present them in a specific quantum-encoded sequence while maintaining perfect phase alignment across multiple dimensional frequencies. Impressive, came a new voice from the communication array. Mind if we take a look? Every being on the bridge turned toward the source of the transmission. The voice belonged to a human captain, Sarah Mitchell, of the Terran Diplomatic Corps. Humans had been invited to observe the final testing phase as a courtesy, though their primitive technology made them incapable of meaningful contribution to such advanced engineering. Captain Mitchell, Zeloth replied with barely concealed condescension. While we appreciate your species' interest in our work, the fortress is designed to be impenetrable. Perhaps your time would be better spent observing from a safe distance. Oh, I'm sure it's very impressive. Mitchell's voice carried an undertone that the universal translator struggled to parse. But every security system has vulnerabilities. Mind if I bring my team over for a closer inspection? Dr. Thissera's patterns flickered with what might have been amusement. Captain, this fortress has been tested against everything from antimatter bombardment to reality warping weapons. Your species has yet to develop technology capable of even approaching our basic defensive perimeters. Fair enough, Mitchell conceded. But sometimes fresh eyes see things differently. What's the worst that could happen? 3 hours later, Captain Mitchell and her small team materialized via transport beam outside the Nexus Citadel. The humans looked comically out of place. Their simple environmental suits and handheld scanners seemed like stone tools compared to the reality-bending architecture before them. Fascinating design, Mitchell commented, walking slowly around the fortress's outer perimeter. Her team spread out, taking readings and making notes on their primitive tablets. Zeloth watched from his observation post, growing increasingly impatient. Captain, your scans cannot possibly penetrate our quantum shielding. Perhaps it's time to— Oh, I'm not trying to scan through anything, Mitchell interrupted. I'm just looking for the front door. Front door? Vorthak's chittering took on a confused tone. Captain, there is no front door. The access portal requires. Found it, Mitchell announced cheerfully.